What's good, fight fans? Your Majesty speaking. So I came across a posting today of Tim Bradley pretty much, let me bring it up. Pretty much saying that if Benavidez was at 168 again, he ain't beating Crawford. I have thoughts on this. I happen to think that recency bias is always a hell of a drug. And no disrespect to Tim Bradley, don't get me wrong. I think Tim Bradley is funny and shit, bro. Especially when he be like, man, Devin Haney, man. I think Tim Bradley funny and shit, man. Benavidez ain't beating Crawford, man. That should be hilarious. But I think this is a little far-fetched, man. I think, like I've said before in previous videos, that Canelo was the perfect opportunity for Terence Crawford to move up 2 weight classes and fight a guy at 168 because of Canelo's dimensions. With Canelo being 168 pounds, but short in height, 5'6.5", 5'7". Of course, they say he 5'7", 5'8", or whatever, but Canelo about 5'6.5", and arms lengthwise, his arms aren't that long. I think Canelo was able to take advantage of the 168-pound division because of his coming from a smaller weight class, being able to carry up his power. His speed was a lot faster than the guys at 168. Of course, he had troubles with the guys at 154 and 147. Guys like Amir Khan that came up gave Canelo a lot of issues with his hand speed. And so I think Canelo was actually able to do what Crawford did, which was move up. Of course, he did it in a manner where he moved up gradually, but moving up allowed him to be the faster man, and it helped him that he was able to carry his power up with him. And so I think Canelo was the perfect pick. That's why if you see my previous video, I said Crawford cherry pick Canelo. Doesn't necessarily mean that Canelo is a bad fighter or Canelo is trash, but you can cherry pick a good fighter. Cherry picking just means the odds are in your favor pretty much, and it's almost a guarantee in your mind that you're going to win. That's really what a cherry pick is. I know a lot of times people say a cherry pick is you picking somebody who some shit. To me, that's not a cherry pick. A cherry pick is when you look at this matchup and you say, he this, he that, but I'm this, I'm that. I got the longer reach, I'm taller, I got faster feet, I'm this, I'm that. That's a cherry pick. When it's not a cherry pick is when you getting in the ring with somebody of equal talent, skill, foot speed, or whatever the case may be. And that's why I said, if you look at those comments, I said everybody cherry picks. I'm just pointing it out in this aspect. Now, however, I don't think Crawford would have moved up and fought and asked for that fight if Benavidez was the undisputed champion. I think that Crawford would have said that Benavidez is too big. And I know Terence Crawford was a sparring partner for Tim Bradley, and he used to whip his ass, Tim Bradley's words, not mine. And so I just think that sometimes a motherfucker whoop you and you at the level of a Tim Bradley, you feel like shit. Even whoop me, he could probably whoop anybody's ass. But I'm here to tell you, Scarface Benavidez ain't the one. Even if he was to come back down to 168 right now, I still believe that he would be far too big for Terence Crawford. He's about 6'2", 6'2.5", almost 6'3", much longer arms, much faster hands than Canelo, much more active fighter than Canelo. And I think it's just a bad style, not even from a style standpoint. So let me not say a bad style, but I just think Davidbenavidez is a step too far. Scarface Benavidez is the real deal. And he may not be as polarizing of a name as Canelo, but he is a much tougher fight for Terence Crawford than Canelo was. And so while Tim Bradley believes that if Benavidez was at 168, he ain't beating Crawford, I'm here to tell you, you sound like a damn fool, brother. You sound like a fool. Davidbenavidez would have beat the fuck out of Terence Crawford on that night, and Crawford probably know it too. And there's no disrespect to him, you know what I'm saying? But Davidbenavidez, Scarface Benavidez, as I call him, he the real deal, man. And I understand what Tim Bradley doing, and I like it. And it's funny because Tim Bradley is really bolstering the profile of Terence Crawford, because regardless of whether Terence Crawford fights Davidbenavidez or not, Scarface Benavidez or not, it's going to keep people's mental on Terence Crawford. And a lot of times people, when they see, like you said, Terence Crawford jumped up 2 weight classes and beat Canelo, mentally they just automatically have that mindset of, oh, he can whoop anybody. He can whoop anybody. But Tim, I love what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Your ass is hilarious, man. Man, Davidbenavidez beat the shit out of Terence Crawford. That's funny. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do. And like, comment, and subscribe so that you will be notified when I drop future videos. Hit the notification bell. And with that being said, until next time.